Welcome back to another Mastering Video Marketing podcast. I'm Tony Reale.
And I'm Ben Carlson.
Ben, today we are going to talk about something that may not get us a lot of views. I find that a lot of times when we do these business insight ones, they're not as popular as when I show off my new red camera or talk about production or stuff like that.
But hopefully the ones of you that are watching will find some nice benefits, some golden nuggets, and be able to actually apply it, even if we're not getting the
Absolutely, because I feel these are lessons that we've learned, even some more recently than others.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's important for us to share. And we'd love to get your feedback. So please leave a comment below if any of these things that we're about to talk about resonate with you, if you've struggled with them yourself, or if you find solutions through them. So
yeah, or if there's other things that you've learned and kind of in line with what we're talking about as we've been growing our business. The whole idea of this channel is taking all the information that we've gathered over the decades of research and learning and try to condense it down and share it so people can follow along with and have it all in one place.
So if you find this stuff helpful, please do share, leave a comment, let us know. We'd love to get your feedback. So the topic we're talking about today is the 4 things that are stopping your business from growing.
Yeah.
The reason that I feel that this is such an important topic is because almost all of these are really easy to overlook, to ignore, and not even be aware of.
Yeah.
And yet these are the number one reasons that most businesses stop growing. And sometimes the reason that businesses start to decline and fail. And we've gone through every single one of them.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that today. But just so that there's hope, we also have 4 solutions through those at the very end to help people understand. So stick around to the end to find those solutions.
Yep.
But number 1 is so dangerous. And yet, honestly, number 1, I think it's really easy for people to think that they are not suffering from it. In fact, they can think that when they're in the midst of it, that they're actually doing the right thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And that is complacency. And the reason a lot of times businesses feel they're doing the right thing is because they feel like they've perfected their systems.
Yes.
They've worked years to get at a really good spot, and now things have worked, and it worked really well for them.
Yeah.
And so, great, we've perfected that. We can move on. We can focus on other things.
Yes. And in a way, they're right. The machine is running. It is going, and they found something that's probably bringing in the profits that they want to see, and it's at a level where it's easy enough to maintain, and the ship is just on course and ready to go. But a lot of times that's where people fail.
Right. And, I know when I first started my production company, I just wanted to get to a point of consistent customers, consistent workflow. And so, I spent years investing in our portfolio, investing in equipment, growing our customer base. And then we got to a point where I was happy, and I'm like, great, we did it.
Yeah.
Good job, us.
Yep.
And then COVID happened, and
oh no,
everything changed for us. And I realized that what had worked in the past isn't going to continue to work now.
Right.
And the long story short of that is that's how we transitioned into Creative Edge being more of a video marketing agency than just a video production studio. And you can watch other podcasts where we've talked about that. But if you want to hear our philosophy behind that, check out our Video Pathfinder webinar at videopathfinder.com. It's a 40-minute, super condensed, great explanation on how we teach businesses to approach social media marketing, how most businesses are doing it the wrong way, and how to do it the right way. And if you can watch that video and take everything that we talk about and go grow your business right now.
Yep.
And if you need help, you can definitely reach out to us, and we'd be happy to help.
But right now, and I say right now, it's free. It's absolutely free. We are here to help bring people along with us. We're not going to gatekeep anything and be like, well, you got to sign up for this to get this last little nugget. No, like we're here to share. We want you to be successful, and we want you to grow. So that's why we give it away.
So number 2 is something that again, this is another one of those things where a lot of businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs especially, feel like they're doing the right thing when they're in the midst of this.
Yeah.
And yet, it's very easy to discover that this is getting way in your way.
Yes.
And that is distractions. And now I don't mean just like, my hobbies or my, whatever. I'm talking about entrepreneurial business distractions.
Yeah.
Things that are getting in the way of you being able to focus on your core business, working on your business, not just in your business. But, like, so we have a virtual reality arcade that I founded and worked together with my partners to develop for years, and I really enjoyed it. But I realized in recent times that I was like, it's hard for me to focus on both of these and give them the full attention that they want. And same thing with Sean, like, he was our director of post-production for years, and it was hard for him to focus on the arcade and everything like that. So we've come to a point, we haven't really shared this a lot, but we were kind of separating out the brands, and so that Sean can really just focus on the arcade, and I can do the deep dive into Creative Edge, and be able to give it the attention and the growth that it needs. But a lot of entrepreneurs get sucked up in the ideation of like, okay, well, I want to have multiple irons in the fire, throw a bunch of spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks, all the analogies. And the truth is that if you could pick the one thing that would be most likely to succeed, or that would make you the most money if it did succeed, and you just gave that thing your attention, how much more likely would it be to succeed instead of you just sitting back and hoping one of them takes off?
Right. And, it's interesting. We live in a very positive culture towards entrepreneurship. That hasn't always been the case. It used to be that you went and you towed the company line for 25, 30 years. You got your pension and you retired with a boat and a log cabin. Now the idea of like rise and grind, hustle, get out there, that has become so prevalent. And sure, get out there, hustle, do your work. But what I think is interesting is how many people now are sacrificing their own personal health, their families, because they have this idea that, they need to really focus on their work in order to grow. And yet they get so distracted, and they're throwing out idea after idea rather than just spending the time and devoting it to one and still having a balanced, healthy family life or personal life, whatever that may be. But they say, oh no, I can't have any distractions outside of work, but yet they're distracted inside of work, and that's causing them even more problems and stopping them from growing than being able to attend their child's recital at 7:00 at night that they're still working.
Exactly. And yeah, the lack of growth that they're seeing isn't because they're just waiting for the kick can or whatever like that. It's because they're not giving it that core attention that it needs to actually click over and start seeing the success. All right. Number 3 is changes in the market.
Yes.
So again, you might have had a great product or service that was awesome for years. And then the market changed. I use the analogy all the time of the GPS market. About like in the 90s, even early 2000s. That was such an important thing. Like, having a GPS in your car with like, the difference between having, go print off our old school with your physical map. And then it got to be like before we go on a trip, you'd print off your map quest. Yeah.
And heaven help you if you got anywhere slightly off road or there's construction, you're done. You're done. Donezo. Yeah.
So when GPSs came along, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm never not going to have a GPS in my car. Of course not.
And that's true.
And the truth is, and it goes back to the old analogy where teachers are like, you need to learn math really well because you're not going to always have a calculator with you.
Well, yeah.
But then, to see, and I know that there's still certain markets where like GPSs thrive, like semi-truck drivers, like they're not allowed to have cell phones either GPS because it's distraction.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you the cell phone market took a big chunk out of the GPS market.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do you evolve and change in that? I'm not going to get into how to be a GPS manufacturer, but when the market changes, are you changing with it? And we see companies like Blockbuster, or I was just listening to an ebook the other day about one of the telephone companies that wasn't adapting, and they're like, we're good, good, everything's going to be fine, and then So adapting to the market, understanding changes in the markets. Your competition, you might, like as a video production company, when I started the company in 2009, there were different companies than there are today.
Yeah.
There are companies that have come since we've started that are doing things differently or doing things better. And we need to be aware of them. We can't just be like, we've been around longer.
Yeah, right.
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Well, and to your point, we're we might not see another COVID pandemic. We might not see a global pandemic, but we're going to see things that change. Our business changed drastically when COVID hit because people realized, we can cut this spending. So even if
I wouldn't say realize, but they decided.
they sure did.
Yeah.
But having the intentionality of, I'm going to, no matter what the market may be, I'm going to position myself that I'm going to be an asset. I'm going to be valuable. So for us, it was rather than just, you'll pay us $70,000 to create a beautiful corporate video for you. Well, that's going to get cut. If times get tough, if they have to lay off someone or they're going to cut their video budget, they're going to cut that. Mm-hmm. But if we're positioning ourselves to say, hey, we're going to increase your revenue 20% this year, that's a lot harder to get rid of because
we're going to do it through a video.
Right.
Not hope that the video does the thing and we're just making something pretty.
No, but we are that value added and positioning ourselves as that value added rather than just an asset or a contractor that can come in and help.
Right. And the other thing that can change in the market is the perceived value of your product.
Yeah.
Again, what existed, what was super valuable to somebody back, 5, 10, 20 years ago may not be as valuable. I mean, you think of those, you see probably pop up in your social media feed or like the old cordless phone that we used to have, and then they had like this Velcro attachment that you could like rest it at your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I guarantee there are people that watch that video, and that infomercial popped up like, oh my gosh, this saved my life.
Yeah.
No one would ever use that.
Right.
And rightfully so. But, that just goes to show that at a point in time, that product was probably flying off the shelves because it solved a problem that no one would ever pay. You couldn't pay me to stick one of those in my house.
Right.
It's zero value to me.
Yeah.
So again, is the value of the market changing?
Yeah.
And are people still, like, again, as a video production company, videos changed throughout the years. What it was in the 80s and 90s is different in how it is today.
Yeah.
And the way that businesses can value even those pretty corporate videos may not be as important as a video that gets, 500,000 views on TikTok or something like that.
Yeah.
So the aesthetic, the high quality, the cinematic lighting and everything like that sometimes isn't as important as the efficacy of, it definitely isn't as important as the efficacy of the ad and the placement and all that kind of stuff. So we have to evolve where, I still love playing with fancy camera tools, but we realize that the thing that matters to our customers more so than how pretty our videos are is how much they're going to move the needle.
Correct. And this, I know this is broad for business advice, but speaking specifically to creatives, it has never been a better time to be a creative because of the tools that are available, but also it is an extremely challenging time to be a creative because of the tools that are available. I was looking to put my work into a gallery or a store down in Dallas, and the owner of the store was like, well, I don't really know. They had all sorts of artwork. They had jelly beans, like ceramic jelly beans that they were selling for $150. But when I came to present my work, they said, well, anyone can get a camera and push the button. And it's like, that, sure, give me anyone can go and get a paintbrush. I'm not going to know what to do with it. And so being able to know what to do with it, but then making sure that your audience and who you're trying to sell it to, the business, your clients, see that value, that's really where the difference is going to be.
Well, and even like sometimes allowing the story to come out of that too. Again, the ebook I was listening to was Scrum, talking about workflows for businesses. But the guy was talking about how he picked up bought a picture off of a climber the sun was setting in Mount Everest, and he climbed to the top of Mount Everest, but it was setting so fast he didn't think he'd be able to make it back to base camp. And so he was afraid that this might be the last picture that you ever take.
Wow.
So he was enjoying the moment that he had there, which was this I made it, I did it, and then I might die tomorrow.
Sure. Wow.
And so the guy bought the photo off of him because of what it meant, the amount of satisfaction in the moment, but then knowing that it was still,
sure,
the accomplishment, and then that, all that kind of stuff. It was, so that story meant more than just the picture and the lighting and the composition.
Yeah. So the question then is, how do you convey that story? Yeah.
So the last one is changes in marketing.
Yeah.
And changes in marketing is really, what are viewer habits changing? newspaper ads for decades were amazing.
Yeah.
Places to put your, advertise your business, service, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a rapidly diminishing market right now. Radio is also starting to have problems.
Yeah.
And then even TV but even the social media channels themselves, like, what a Facebook used to be.
Yeah.
And, it was for students, and then it became for everybody, and then it became less students went there. So knowing the viewer habits that have changed on each platform, even like we talk about a lot of the difference between Facebook and YouTube and viewer habits of like, on Facebook, and Instagram, people are usually more in like a discovery mode where they're kind of like, just thumbing through, seeing
what's happening.
Yeah. Versus when somebody's on YouTube, they are more interested in like tuning into a thing.
Sure.
So when an ad pops up, it's straight up getting in my way of watching the thing that I was ready to watch.
Yeah.
So if you try to do direct response marketing on YouTube, you're going to get much worse results.
Yeah.
Brand awareness advertising is the best thing to do on a YouTube channel.
Right.
Vice versa, on Facebook, direct response actually performs much better because people are more likely to click, more likely to interact with an ad than they are just, again, brand awareness. Whatever. So know how the platforms change and know how they're constantly changing. And again, what worked a few years ago may not work today.
Yeah.
TikTok is constantly evolving. LinkedIn is constantly evolving. All these platforms are constantly evolving. And again, with television, like you said, like that, the thing with television is that you're very broad in so if you want to really specialize and hone in on a specific market, that's probably not the best place to do it. You can do that a lot better on social media platforms, but then narrowing down is that target audience using that platform.
Correct.
Not say that there aren't any younger generation on Facebook. There are plenty, but would you get a better response if you went to a different platform like TikTok or Snapchat or whatever?
Absolutely. And, I spoke to the creatives. Now this is speaking more for the people that are looking to build their business and trying to use these, 4 tips, but I am amazed at how many fully fledged college educated marketing departments that are staffed full of people who have been doing this for 20, 30 years miss this. Where it's like, oh no, we've tried that before. We've done social media before. It just didn't work. Or, oh, this is, we're posting daily because that's what the algorithm says to do. And they put up the same polished post over and over and over again. Doesn't get engagement, but they're doing it. They're filling their quota. So for those of you in those positions or business owners, as you're trying to get out, find someone that does this regularly. Find someone that does this consistently and it lives in it. We've found even in ourselves, certain campaigns we've removed ourselves from and allowed like our editor to step in and be like, hey, Quinn, you got this way more than we do because you live in this, in a more gaming environment. Yeah. I'm obviously going to trust what he does, what he knows because he's living in it. So finding those experts, finding those technical experts that are living in this world are going to pay so many more dividends than whatever they're going to cost.
Absolutely. All right. So we promised 4 solutions to these 4 problems.
That was a freebie solution. That didn't count. Yeah.
So solution number 1, I always say, whenever you feel lost, the first step should always be education.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one.
And within education, it may not be just like, okay, I need to go and learn, take a course on Facebook marketing or something like that. Learn the entire approach to a category that you like. I'm a pretty good cinematographer.
Sure.
I know how to use my camera gear. I could spend more time and energy learning better cinematography. But what is actually helping our business right now is me getting better as a business owner.
Sure.
I don't have the time to go back and take an MBA course, but I am reading MBA books. I'm reading and taking courses on business management, and so that I can be better as the head of the company.
Yeah.
And it's shifting my roles and understanding of things too, because like what I wanted to be previously and is different when I realize what I have to be, and and also like focusing roles, like knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses.
Yep.
I'm trying to bring in other team members to be like, all right, Ben, let's focus you on what you're amazing at and take the things that you either struggle at or really just waste your time.
Yes.
And put that on somebody else's plate that is much better at it.
Yeah.
Because their time is worth less.
And there's Sean moving a bunch of stuff for the arcade right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean. But also, yes, much less money.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I use child labor.
It's cheap. Thank you for that. So that's a fifth one. We'll throw that in. Child labor.
Child labor is the key to growing your business.
But never. So to put the pin on the point of the whole education thing, it's never feel like you've gotten there.
Yeah.
Never feel that you're too smart to learn something.
Right.
When Alex Ramosi says it best, he said, if somebody's making more money than me, there's something that I can learn from them. Don't get jealous. Don't get frustrated. Don't get mad at yourself. Just think there's something that they know that I probably don't, and I could learn something from them.
And I don't think it even stops there, because you would say, oh, Jeff Bezos then clearly has nothing to learn. But trying to change course on a monolith like Amazon, he could probably learn a lot about being nimble and being more mobile in decision making from someone that's not at his level. So there's always something to learn. There's always something to glean from. And again, finding those experts and try, whether it's someone that you hire, there's so much free resources. Again, there's never been a better time in the history of the world that we have more information at our fingertips for free.
Yeah.
It's incredible what's out there that you really can, without investing a lot, you can gain a lot of dividends.
Well, really what it boils down to, if you have more money than time, then you hire a specialist. If you have more time than money, then you go self-educate.
Yep. That's great.
Really the ways to go with that.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2 to the solutions is innovate.
Yeah. This is a fun one.
Yeah. You want to get ahead of your competition, even if you are at a great place, even if you're ahead of the pack, you're not going to stay there if you just keep doing that complacency thing that we talked about earlier. Innovation needs to be in the DNA of your business and something that you and your team are constantly coming back to you and saying, great, we're doing great. How can we stay doing great? How can we do better? How can we, there's never a point where your widget or your service or whatever it is that you offer has been perfected and can never be improved, or that it will last forever in its current state.
Yeah. Yeah. I in a past life, I did technical consulting with a lot of industries or a lot of businesses. And the ones that I found that did the best were the ones that were investing when it was the hardest, when times were tough, when things were slow. They were innovating. And it didn't make sense. They were spending money on a bet, but they were at least hedging that bet with sound reasoning. And they were saying, all right, we know that we need to step up, so we're going to do it now, because when times were tough and they were doing it, no one else was doing it. So when times got good, they were already a year, 2 years ahead of the competition, who when times got good, they're like, oh, we can start investing in this now. They were late. They were behind, and they had started losing market share to this company that was investing years before they did, even though it on paper might not have made sense. But that innovation is what really drives key moves and key changes in industries.
Yeah. To continue with the Amazon analogy, obviously they were ahead of the curve when they were trying to sell books online, but, they didn't stop at books. And, how many years did everybody around us always say, like, no, I'd rather to go to a physical store and buy a thing. How often do you go to a physical store versus just throw something in your Amazon cart?
Right.
And the other side of it too that I think is interesting is I'll go to a physical store and I'll look at a product and I'm like, great, I can physically see it. I can see it. I wonder what other people think about the product.
Yep.
So I'll still go on Amazon or other store websites and look at the reviews before I feel comfortable making a large ticket purchase.
Yeah.
So a habit that I've shifted in is the reviews of a product and other people's opinion of the product matter more to me than physically holding it in my hand and seeing it in person.
It's interesting. I love that analogy, and Amazon I find fascinating for all their evils and qualms that people might have against them. From a business, they're fascinating to look at, because you have an industry that's well established. You had your Borders books, you had your Barnes and Nobles, you had so many of these just well established giants corporations already. And Amazon didn't come in and say, all right, we're going to start warehousing books. They said, all right, we're going to start being a distribution center. And now they're the number one bookseller, but they don't have a large inventory of books. What they did is they invested in printing. And so again, it wasn't okay, well, how can I be a better bookstore? How can I stock more books? How can I get more books out there? It's how can I meet this demand? Well, I'm just going to print books on demand. So now if you go, obviously they have some books on the shelves, but if you order an obscure book where it's like, hey, buy now and you'll have it 3 days later, that book is printing that day at a print shop, a lot of times locally to where you are, because they have print shops all over the world, and you're getting shipped a freshly printed book. It wasn't didn't have to sit on the shelves. They didn't have to pay for the overhead. They learned a new industry to meet a demand that you would say, well, why are they getting involved in printing? Well, they just started innovating, and they've now changed the market, cornered the market, and they are innovating even within that market that now the printing industry has to keep up. And it's an ever-growing cycle that is just fun to watch.
Yep, exactly. All right, number 3 on the list of solutions is adapt to market trends.
Yeah.
And, we just kind of talked about that, honestly, with Amazon, but seeing what is happening, seeing where, again, to use the analogy with video marketing, the reason that we became a video marketing agency, we tried being an agency years ago. We tried that on for size, and I quickly abandoned it because I didn't want to do web design and traditional media and all the other stuff that is typically involved with being an agency. Like, that just watered down what our specialties were, and I didn't want to have to grow a team of people to just take us away from that direction.
Yeah.
But today, because video has become such a dominant thing on most platforms, even with the dwindling down of television, other platforms, and some of the top platforms like TikTok and YouTube are video only.
Yeah. Right.
So to be a video marketing agency, we can specialize in video and have that be its own category.
Sure.
So that's how we've adapted to market trends.
Yeah.
But seeing how things have changed, and then instead of going, oh, and social media is constantly changing, TV ads aren't as big as they used to be, where do we find our existence? Businesses don't value corporate videos as much as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then there's this whole other category of video that's growing at an exponential rate.
Right.
And we have a huge market that we can work on there.
Yeah.
So that's adapting to market trends right there.
And the key to this is coming back to the first thing that we talked about. Even as you're adapting and you say, all right, great, we got social media down, we got this is great. If we find complacency in that, and that we're like, oh, we're just going to be a video marketing agency that really focus, we're going to miss out on the next trend that's coming. So it is innovation is constantly driving this. You use the analogy a lot of time of, the grain of sand in a pearl is what causes, or a grain of sand in an oyster is what causes the pearl. And
the bigger the irritant, the bigger the pearl.
Correct. And so constantly keeping that itch, that drive to be like, all right, what next? What is next? That's what's going to help grow, and that's where you're going to find your pearls.
And for us, so many times, the biggest innovations, the biggest adaptations, the biggest adaptation.
There you
go. The biggest changes and growth from our company has come from the biggest struggles, the biggest failures, the biggest grains of sand, so to speak, because those finally became the catalyst and motivation for us to go pull us in a direction that we probably would not have been as open to. Again, when you are pushed to the end of something, and you see its death, you can get really, really motivated.
Yeah.
And so I now very much embrace failure much more than I did previously, because it's become the best teacher for us, for sure.
Absolutely.
And education, that's so important.
There you go.
All right, number 4. Number 4 is a fun one that I don't think enough people do, and this is actually something that we're starting to incorporate into our marketing structure for our company and in services that we offer. Because we talk a lot about the 40-40-20 rule. Yeah, we mentioned in other podcasts, but to say it real quickly, the breakdown of the success of a campaign has to do 20% with the creative, which is where we typically live, and where we live.
That's our 100%. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And we realized that the success of it was only 20% of was the initial thing that we were involved in. So the next 40% is the audience that you're putting your offer in front of. Right. But the last one is the offer itself. Correct. Refining the offer. And so that's number 4. The final solution we say is refine your offer. And if you've watched any of Alex Hormozi's stuff, he talks about the value equation. The value equation has to do with dream outcome times perceived likelihood of success divided by effort and sacrifice, and the delay between it actually happening and all that. That's the value of your thing. And if you can get that lower number to be less and the upper number to be more, you're going to have a higher value. And when the way that you showcase that value is your offer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, like they in their mind, with we talk about the curse of knowledge that a lot of businesses have. They get so hung up, like, again, I've got an 8K camera, and I've got virtual production studio, and I've got cinematography, and we've got X number of years of experience, and we've got a great team and all this kind of stuff. Is that what our customers actually care about? Sure. Because if we talk about those things, they're gonna gloss over them. But if we talk about, this is the return on ad spend that we've given our customers, this is the type of growth that they've seen, this is the success from campaigns, this is the viewership that they've gotten, this is all that, what our customers have benefited from, that is significantly more valuable to them than how pretty our images are.
Yeah.
Now, they want to hire a competent company, for sure, but they're not hiring my 8K camera. They're hiring our team to help grow their business.
Yeah.
And so the product or service that you offer, making sure that you are finding ways to refine your offer consistently. And a great way to do that is by split testing ads on social media, because you can use platforms like Facebook as you can run split test ads, A/B testing, to see, like, how do people respond to this verbiage versus that verbiage.
Yeah. What's an example of, like, some of the refining an offer? What would you say?
So sure, like if let's say you sell I'm trying to think of something, a product that helps you clean your car. You might use the verbiage in there, like, it cleans the car like you say, your car seats, it cleans it 20% faster, or it cleans it, it has a lasting shine that lasts for X number of weeks or days or whatever like that. You might put down there like, oh man, this lasts a month, and that shine won't go away on your leather, and it's amazing. For another person, may like, it only lasts a month. So that what might be a good thing in your mind might be a bad thing in their mind.
Sure.
So that you might not want to lean on that for that audience. You might go with like, look at how it's the materials that it's made out of are organic, or it's better for the environment, or something like that. That might be something that people care about, or they may not care a darn about it. So you could split test a bunch of different features and benefits of your product, and you find, oh my gosh, people actually care about this thing way more than we realized. We thought that they cared about that part of the thing. Sure.
What about like repackaging for the value? Where, if you're saying, oh, no one's buying it at this price point, how can someone repackage to make it more affordable? We talked about our, the whole process and what that costs. How can someone repackage that?
So there's lots of ways to improve your offer in that regard. Like some people try to just start discounting. Like if people start getting afraid of the thing, like, I'll do it cheaper or whatever, So the best way though to do it is, again, within that value equation, is to get that top number to be more. So try and add more value to it. So, find out what the dream outcome of a customer is. If we do those different things of things. So how is your product helping with the dream offer of our dream outcome of something that people really, really want? Showcase that, really lean into that, find out what their dream outcome is, the highest dream outcome that your target audience has, and lean in that. And then showcase the perceived likelihood of success. One big way of doing that is customer testimonials. Like we use those a ton in our in our retargeting ads. We use that all the time. These are great ways. Because if somebody hasn't made the purchase, usually there's a hang up or a reason. And so if they're maybe concerned, like, I don't know if this is going to work, testimonials are a great way to alleviate that. So you're reducing that concern that the thing wouldn't work.
Sure.
Time delay. If you can find a way to make it show them like, oh, you're going to get results really fast, showcasing that reduction. And then the effort and sacrifice. This is super easy to use. This is, we'll do the work for you, or whatever the thing might be.
No risk.
Done for you marketing. That's right. Done for you is such a popular marketing term right now.
Sure.
So if you are finding ways to like hack away at that equation and do it, but the other thing that you can potentially do is find ways to, like, the Ginsu knife methodology is a great way to think about it. Like when they did infomercials for Ginsu knives, they didn't say, hey, you're getting 20 knives for $20.
Right.
Because then what they think is each knife is worth
$1 a knife. Yeah.
So what they would do is they would sell this one knife, and they'd be like, look how amazing this knife is.
Yeah.
It can cut, slice, and dice, and it does amazing. And $20 for this knife. And if you act now, we'll throw in these other 19 knives for free.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Now, I love the psychology of this, because when you think about it, what you've done is you've made that knife worth $20.
Yeah.
And now you're throwing in another 19 knives for free. So what does that mean? That means that if these 19 knives are free, that original knife has to be, psychologically, has to be worth even more.
Right.
So yes, fundamentally, all these knives are the same.
Right.
And, but what happened, that's what happens psychologically. So why don't they just say, give me 20 knives for $20?
Yeah.
Because immediately it's $1 a knife.
Yeah.
They make that knife worth $20. And if you act now, we'll give you another 19 knives.
Yeah.
You've suddenly given them incentive you've given them the value of the thing. You've incentivized them to act now because they get this bonus, or whatever like that. And you've increased the core value of your core offer by making the other things that could be worth actually more than the core offer be the free thing.
Yeah. Because if I don't act now, those 19, I'm going to be losing money, because I'm going to lose out on those $19 knives that are probably also worth at least $20. Can't miss out on that.
Right.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. So it's a fun exercise that you can do with your business, but it does take time. But the point being is that, like, you could do nothing else in your business. Marketing, everything stays the same. But if you can increase the value of your product to your audience, your sales could go up.
Sure.
Very, very easily.
Yeah. Based on their needs, but based on where their problems are that they're suing, not just focusing on we've been in business for so long. We talk a lot of the time. Don't we on your customer. Don't just go, we do this, we do that. But really focusing on where they are and what they're today, as market changes, focusing on that really can drive results. And I think the important thing to note is, like you said, these are all relatively easy things to do. These are not like we need to change the course of our company. But we like to use the idea of, if you're on a long journey, you're on a long trip, if you change direction just 1 degree, by the time you end up at the end of the journey, you're going to be a long distance from where you started. And so if you can stack on those incremental changes, just 1 or 2 degrees here or there, before you know it, you're looking at, 5 or 6 degrees of change. You do that over a course of a year, and you are seeing growth that you hadn't even imagined possible without doing anything major. Pop culture corner.
Yeah. All right. So
I think, it's very clear the top thing that we need to talk about is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I mean, that is, I think we can spend the next hour and a half. We'll discuss that. No, what do you got, Tony?
I do like the meme that Madden 25 or whatever like that being just Taylor Swift.
Oh, no, she can't be, because you have the curse of Madden. You can't put her out. Yeah, she's above that.
No, so finally, I just haven't been having a chance to watch TV and catch up on movies and stuff like that. So finally, we got a new TV for our house.
Yeah,
made a little upgrade.
How was it?
Enjoying our new 98-inch TV. So I had a 65-inch. We're renting right now in preparation for building our house. So I sold our house with our theater room, and so I wanted like a nice TV, and so I got a 65, and then COVID and everything happened. So then the build on our house was delayed. I'm like, you know what? I want a bigger screen.
Yeah. You got it.
It's nice.
So what was the first thing?
First thing that we watched, besides I've been going through Picard season 3 with my kids.
Nice.
So that was glorious. But the first movie we watched was Elemental.
Oh,
the new Pixar film. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
The reviews were mixed to positive, but I thought it's a romantic comedy, which usually as a genre, I'm not a huge fan of.
Pixar rom-com?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But what I liked about it is I felt as a parent watching it with my 2 daughters that are older and my son that's, fairly young, but my oldest daughter is 13 now. So she's, getting closer to that age, and,
like her mid-30s when she can start dating. Yep. Got it. Yep.
But more so the age of like curiosity of a thing, understanding what to approach and look for. And I thought they did a good job of establishing First of all, one of my biggest tropes that I loathe in movies is where the girl is interested in the boy and the boy is bad news, and the dad's like, you should probably not date him because he's bad news, and the movie is like, no, they should be together.
Sure.
Because,
Yeah.
looks like we made it. Like all that stuff. I hate
I
that.
can fix him.
Exactly.
You don't understand. It's just a tortured soul.
Yeah.
But I love him.
Yeah. Hate that trope. I feel it's super damaging. And
Especially in the kids.
I was watching a trailer for a movie one time that did that, and the dad was like, he's bad news for you, and she's like, but I want to be with him. I'm yelling at the screen. Well, maybe the dad's right.
Right.
So what I liked in this movie is that fundamentally the idea is that there's all the elements are part of this living in America, and this couple from Ireland.
Okay, nice.
They're kind of like a mixture of European and Mexican in the implication.
Okay.
So they were a little a little bit of racism that's going through there, and so they deal with that a lot of their life. And but like the dad didn't like
they're encountering racism, or they are racist.
they're encountering
Okay,
racism,
all right.
yes. And the dad was kind of stuck in his ways, and so the girl falls in love. The fire girl falls in love with a water boy. And, but like the approach that the couple was very. What's that?
This is his name, Bobby Boucher. And he water boy.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they did a really good job of like showcasing how to gradually fall in love with somebody, because like a lot of Disney movies, it's just like, you're a boy, I'm a girl,
smooch.
Yeah, we're in love now. And I mean, I know that Frozen did a decent job of being like, you can't just marry somebody you met.
Right. Yeah.
But they didn't really do a build-up of like the relational, like so many times in movies you get the like, we're in an extreme situation, and so therefore we developed a bond, and then that means that we will be a good couple because of that.
Yeah.
In this movie, they really didn't have that. It was just kind of a very platonic, very everything, and then there's something in you that I kind of see, and you see that slow build up, and I'm like, that's what it was like with my wife and I. We didn't just like immediately we're going, oh man, we're super into each other. Yeah. It's like, you're neat. I like spending time with you, and then I spent enough time with you to think there's aspects in you that I would be interested in pursuing towards a spouse.
Yeah.
And then like that's just the buildup. And I thought they did a good job of showcasing that. And then also having the daughter and father relationship be very respectful of each other.
Yeah.
I really liked how the father expected her to go in one direction with her career. The daughter wanted to go a different direction, but they showcased like it didn't matter as long as like they saw each other, they cared about each other, and it was great. I liked.
That's awesome.
Not a perfect movie, but I thought it was one of those ones that like sometimes it's nice to have a movie in your back pocket that's like, this is a good thing to talk through certain emotions or certain life experiences with your family and stuff like that. Also saw Strange World. So that was a new Disney movie.
Yep.
That one I didn't like as much. I liked aspects of it. It was kind of tonally all over the place, and it was interesting. It's very pro-environmentalism, pro-LGBTQ.
Okay.
But the thing, like that's not the...
That's a live action, correct?
No, that was still animated.
Okay, yeah.
It was interesting, and like the main core of the movie, I don't want to spoil anything in it because it's like when you understand why the world is so strange and everything like that, it's like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. I thought the characters were a little bit more one-dimensional. Like they had really good moments of like parents listening to each other, but then they still had some of that tropes of like, if you guys would just talk, then we wouldn't have a problem. Yeah. And I hate that trope. And I get what they're trying to imply is that like, I'm feeling this way, but they had a lot of almost the same arc of the characters of like a boy that his dad wanted him to take over a farm, and the boy is like, I don't want to take over a farm. I want to be like my grandpa and be an adventurer. And and it's I hate that trope. When I like the movie White Christmas, but the thing that always makes me cringe is that the moment where she just won't tell him what happened.
Sure.
And so the whole rest of the drama in the movie is just like, just talk to each other. And when that's the drama of your movie, that I get really frustrated with. So that I think Strange World did worse than Elemental.
Okay.
But it was still a fun watch for sure, and
nice.
colorful and bright and vibrant and very trippy.
Yeah.
Very trippy. And then finally watched last night Flash.
The movie?
Yeah, DC.
Okay.
The Flash. Yeah.
When did that come out? I feel like that was in the pandemic vortex, or is it?
No,
is
it was less than a year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how long it came out, but it's like came out just recently on video.
That's right.
And everything like that. So, that one had the 64% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it was okay.
Sure.
Anything plus 60, I think, is considered fresh. So it was right on the border of it. And I understand why.
Yeah.
Again, tonally, it kind of reminded me of the first Justice League movie, not the Zack Snyder recut, where it was like, we need to throw more comedy in here. But I'm like, tonally, you're really dark and gritty.
Yeah.
But we need to have more laughs.
Sure.
And then they had the Flash's character, who is somewhat kind of the comic relief, annoying-ish character of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Then they juxtapose him to a younger version of himself that's even more annoying.
Sure.
It is like, and so I think they're trying to do the character progression that like he gets more mature and learns from himself, and it was like two annoying characters. And then it's not too much of a spoiler to say that Michael Keaton's Batman is because it's in all the trailers and stuff like that. But it was both what I expected and not what I expected.
Okay.
In the sense of like their approach to multiverse. It's funny because like I'm sure when they were doing this, it's like we're going to be the head of the pack in multiverse. And now by the time I watch this, I watched a bunch of Marvel movies on multiverse. Right. I watched this. Star Trek has been doing a little bit of multiverse stuff here and there, and then of course everything everywhere all at once, which is really good. Rick and Morty's been doing a multiverse for a while. So to have DC like, here's our multiverse, and I'm like, I don't even care anymore.
Guys, look at this new thing that we've developed. Okay, you're all doing it. You're all doing it. Okay, all right, sure.
It's certainly worth a watch.
Okay.
It is by no means like as bad as like Batman and Robin or any of those types of movies. I'd probably put it in the Batman Returns. Batman Forever. It's like things that are respectable in the movie, but just still things that went a little too far. Just because they didn't rein it in all the way. Sure. In that tonal shift between the grittiness and then the comedy, I'm like, even by the end of the movie, I'm like, I don't know if this is supposed to be a count. Like the ending of the movie is almost satirical.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, okay.
Was this a comedy?
Yeah. Or
Shakespearean comedy? What are we doing here? Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah. But it is a visual treat. Yeah. So certainly great one to watch on the big screen.
Sure. Cool.
So I think that's pretty much it. Anything?
I have not. I've been traveling, so I haven't. We were up north and on the road, so there wasn't much reception for anything. I'm just excited for Loki season 2, and it was my wife's birthday, so I got her tickets to the Eras tour, the concert movie, which again. I'm not even that big of a Swiftie. I know we joke about it on here because we talk about it all the time. Here's the thing, though. I respect Taylor Swift and what she's done. And I think that what she's doing for movies is very interesting because now all the studios are coming out and they are on fire against her because she was like, all right, I don't need you. I'm just going to go straight to, so her and AMC are making millions of dollars. And now all these little movie theaters are making profits that they had never seen before. They're earning more with her than they did on Barbie, which is driving the houses mad. And so I'm very interested to see. I've heard rumors that Beyonce is going to be doing something similar, or at least she's going to be releasing a concert movie experience. It'll be interesting to see if she follows suit and does it outside of a studio, because this could really be a shift for independent movies. If they can find the funding, you could have some very interesting developments outside of outside of just the Hollywood studios.
Well, and you think about it too, like, a great concert, you're going to want to hear that in a good sound system.
Right.
So, I mean, that in and of itself is not everybody has a killer home theater system. So, yeah, the idea of being able to go to a really great home theater experience. And I mean, I've been to concerts, but I've also watched concerts. And I think like when you can really let a good director and a good camera crew tell the story, it can be much more immersive. Like you can see in the drum cage and you can get close-ups on the artist and stuff like that. So just seeing it from a locked out perspective.
Right. Yeah.
Now I get that modern concerts also do an amazing job of the show, of the whole stage and everything. But yeah, I'd be curious to see how well that could turn out.
And I think what's interesting about this show is it's people have likened it to Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I'm not saying that Taylor Swift because that's Rocky Horror Picture Show is an icon, but the idea of it being an experience versus just a sitting down and watch, or even this, I know some in the beginning people like, I think AMC came out, they're like, you can stand up and watch this if you would like. And everyone's like, whoa, slow down. And now you have people dancing, people swarming the front. And it's, I think to be able to experience that concert feel with a killer sound system on a big screen that you can get it's going to be a very unique experience. And the fact that it happened outside of Hollywood at a time where Hollywood really was trying to show how necessary they were and really kind of put their thumb into the writers and the actors. And this is just, I think it all came together at a perfect time. So again, I'm not like, I can't wait to see Taylor Swift. I am excited for the show, but I think what she's doing for multiple industries is just really interesting.
All right, last thing I'll mention is I did pick up a MetaQuest 3. And so that's more technology, but that I've been enjoying it. And so the key things that I enjoy, maybe I'll do a full review on it.
Let's do a full review on it.
There's a million reviews out there, so I feel like I need to add another one, yeah. But so some of the key takeaways, I mean, it's obviously good graphical performance, everything like that. But the key things that I enjoy over the Quest 2 or some of my other headsets is, the pancake lenses are really good. Some of the best. I have a HTC Vive Flow, which was the first headset that I had that had pancake lenses. And that was pretty good, but it had like God rays and field of view was fairly narrow.
Sure.
The field of view on the Quest 3 is impressively large.
Wow, really?
It's like upwards of 110 degrees for some people, which the Quest 2, I think, was around 90, 95, something like that. So the average person on there should be able to get between 105 and 110, depending on how close they can get to their face. And the sweet spot is enormous. Like on the Quest 2 and a lot of other VR headsets, you have to really position your eyes to the right spot, and then you can't really look around the space. You have to move your head. Right. You have to be like Batman, and you can't turn in your cowl. You have to like turn your whole body. Yeah. And so that was the biggest problem that I had with that is like, it's nice and sharp when you get in that sweet spot, but you have to literally I have to move my head with it. I can just move my eyes around. And the first time that I popped on the Quest 3, and then somebody walked into my office, and I just looked off in the corner, and I could have a conversation with them. First of all, the pastor, and then I'll mention that in a second. But like, it was crystal clear. Yeah. And I was like, this is a game changer. And so the pass through on it is a really neat feature. I like having it on. It's super usable. Yeah. There's some warping in certain spots, and maybe software improve that over time. But like I was testing it in my office with I have the Logitech keyboard, the 870 or something like that, which is specifically designed to pair with, or not designed. So the Quest specifically made it so that keyboard could pair with your headset. Yeah. And for a while they were hard to get because of that spot there. It's a great backlight keyboard. The main reason that, especially on the Quest 2, was the backlight. They could track against the backlight and programmed it that way. On the new one, you can just let the pass-through, leave it on, so you don't need to worry about tracking the keyboard for placement. But between the resolution, the sharpness, the sweet spot, the wide sweet spot, all that kind of stuff, I paired the keyboard, and I just plopped up a couple monitors in front of me in virtual space and just tried browsing the web and doing some work on my Quest. and it was super usable.
Yeah.
Super usable.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like the old the only thing that I wish they would be able to do, and I know that you can do this with like virtual desktop and some other streaming, but I wish they had like Chrome or something like that.
Sure.
Because I have so many passwords and logins all saved on there,
Yeah.
my bookmarks and everything. And there isn't an easy way to get those that I have found. If you have a solution, please leave it
Let us
down there.
know. Yeah.
I haven't found an easy way to translate that. I have to like literally log into everything else, rebookmark everything. But what was a thing that I would be like, maybe it'd be cool to do that on my my Quest 2. I really like laptop's great and all that kind of stuff, but like I could see this being a lot more productive.
You know what's interesting? I remember when the first commercials came out and they showed people all sitting around with their Quest 3s on and like having a business meeting and they were doing creative. And I was like, no way. It's not going to happen. It wouldn't happen. And I have to laugh because thinking back, we've had meetings with our Quest 2s where we've had to be in virtual reality, where we've been sitting around and looking through, and it's the black and white, grainy, ugly. And so I guess that was my comparison where I was like, no, this probably would not happen. But if you're saying that it is, you know, the fidelity is high enough and the usability, this could be some really interesting, especially now that the world, you know, we talk about the market shifting and trends, being remote is perfectly acceptable. And trying to talk with people. I was just having a meeting today where the expectation now for a meeting is not in person. And so this is a great way that now you can interact and create even more functionality within those meetings. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
So, I mean, gaming is great too, but like I've been really curious to test it out for productivity.
Yeah.
And again, like having a multi-monitor setup, having the pass-through is really nice. The mixed reality. I'm excited to see where that goes, and just allowing it. Like, you know, I've got my 15-inch tablet here, and I've got my laptop that I use. Like, I have at home on my computer. So at home, I've got a 98-inch TV in my theater room. In my office, I've got like a 30-inch 4K monitor and then like a 27-inch monitor. So I like multi-monitor, everything like that. But when I'm traveling, I have a little 12-inch super lightweight laptop because I like that to be as light as possible. I'm weird in that way. Like, and you have like a 17-inch laptop.
But it's the LG Gram, which is still
super lightweight, sure. But like for me, it's that weird thing. Like when I'm portable, I want it to be super portable.
Sure.
And when I'm not portable, I want it to be like super vivid.
Yeah.
That's why, like, well, why do I have a 15-inch tablet? It's because I found that I use my tablet because I have a fold phone.
Yep.
I use that as my portable tablet.
Sure.
And then I use this more as my productivity screen. Or if I'm like, literally there's times where we're doing client meeting and I need to show like a big video. And so this was easier than whipping out my laptop or whatever.
Sure.
Anyways, all that said, the idea of having like a large multi-monitor setup in front of me that literally packs down to a headset and a keyboard, that's
pretty cool.
And
by the way, none of this is paid for by or Meta or Samsung or any of the other yet. If you guys are listening, we would welcome it. Yeah. But this everything we talked about, we are paying for ourselves and is not sponsored or endorsed. This is just, again, information that we've learned, things that the research that we've done have led us to, and we love to share it.
Well, and the thing is, like, there are so many times in VR where I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the meetings and stuff like that. There's plenty of meeting software, but it hasn't normalized to be, hey, business owner that is not technically savvy, do this. You know, video meetings for years were like, I like doing face-to-face meetings. Video meeting is right underneath that, and phone meeting and email are like way down below that. I would rather see your face and have that interaction. Right. Prior to COVID, we barely had video meetings.
It was almost rude,
either internal or whatever like that. Nowadays, it's the standard expectation.
Yes.
And I'm very happy for that because I prefer that personally way over a phone meeting.
Sure.
I think we'll get there with headsets and VR meetings someday, but it's going to be more like an Apple Vision product that comes along to really do it than consumer gaming technology.
Hear that, Apple? We are not sponsored yet.
But that said, what snuck up on me is that usability. Because when they first showed off, like on the Quest, I forget if it was the Quest 1 had a browser. But it didn't have, like, you still had to use the controllers and like typing was click, Good click.
Yeah.
And I mean, you had voice typing, but it was, still not 100% reliable. And then they added the gesture-based stuff, which is fine, but like it's still kind of exhausting to just hold your finger up and like to select a keyboard. I can't just punch the keyboard. I have to tap.
Right.
So then having a keyboard and a mouse trackpad, I'm like, oh wow, this is normal.
That's cool.
This is great. And then being able to be like, I want another window, but bink, not immediately another monitor.
Yeah.
Want a third window, but bink, not third monitor. Like, like those things, and the quality and the clarity of it. Yeah. And the thing about doing a multi-monitor setup, it sounds great, but if you have that narrow sweet spot, you have to move your head back and forth. I can't really watch something on the peripherals of my eye. Sure. Then what's the point of having a second monitor? Like I have to turn my head. That sounds like first world problems, but it is exhausting. It's not usable.
If you did extended desktop, do you think you could do video and photo editing? Is it there?
The only thing is like the quality of the monitor, the headset itself. It is an LCD. It's not an OLED or anything like that. It seems fairly color decent. I have no way of doing any sort of calibration, you know. So that would be my only concern is if I need to do color grading or whatever like that, I would probably, I don't know. I'd have to test and see how well it performs against it. So it sounds like it could work.
Another episode.
Yeah. But remote, you can remote in with applications like virtual desktop or big screen beta where you can control your computer remotely. But yeah, the usability of just web browsing and multi-monitor and stuff like that, because of the clarity of the screen, the wide sweet spot, all that kind of stuff, it just stuck up on me as a thing that I was like, oh, this would be really neat to have someday. And then I tried it several times. I'm like, I'm never going to use this on the other headsets. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's perfect. Or I shouldn't say perfect. Nothing's perfect, but like 100% usable now. And to the point where I'm like,
enjoyable.
I'm probably, yeah, it's comfortable. It's easy. I can read comfortably. I don't have to like lean in to read the text. All the little things that were problems on the other stuff.
Yeah. Neat.
So here's your extended pop culture corner.
Pop culture.
Let us know in the comments below if you'd like us to do a VR Quest 3 headset review, talking about productivity, probably more than gaming, because that's our approach.
Yeah.
There's games and they're fun.
And if you want to see more, feel free, like, subscribe,
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
I'll see you next time.
See ya.